Batman is one of the most well-known comic book characters of all time. With adaptation after adaptation, it feels like every few years someone new is donning the mask of the Dark Knight. So far, there have been 12 Batman movies. 12, with 8 different actors playing the Dark Knight over the years. And after watching The Batman by Matt Reeves, I got inspired to go back and watch some of the older Batman movies from my childhood, and one really stood out to me from the rest. Batman Forever, starring Val Kilmer in the role of Batman, and the controversial and late Joel Schumacher in the director's chair. Honestly, as a kid, I always saw this as one of the better movies in the quadrilogy of the 90s Batman movies, but you know, critics thought otherwise. So yeah, today we're gonna go back and I'm gonna rewatch and review Batman Forever. This was a ton of fun to make, and if you guys do enjoy this video and want to see more like it, then please tell me in the comments below and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and shows that you guys are still supporting what I'm doing. And yeah, enjoy the video. So the movie opens with a bunch of flying colored names just coming right at you, and honestly it's a bit overwhelming. Then we get the now iconic Joel Schumacher Batman suit up scene, where we get introduced to the new Batsuit, which is a slightly altered version of the Michael Keaton suit from Batman Returns, or even Batman 1989, and I quite like it, honestly. I think it works, you know, minus the nipples.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
Also, it's canon now that Batman stopped at McDonald's and got one of those Batman Forever, like Hot Wheel toys after stopping Two-Face. That happened, alright? We just didn't see it. It's in the Schumacher Cut, don't worry. We're also introduced to the new Batmobile, which, while I don't personally like it, it is something new and it's different. And I respect that. They easily could have gone with the well-loved Michael Keaton Batmobile, but they tried something different. And honestly, it fits the other thing that's new. Gotham. Gotham in this movie it's too much. It's too much to handle.
You're counting on the winged Avenger to deliver you from evil, aren't you, my friend?
You know, Tommy Lee Jones is a good, sometimes great actor in some of the roles. And this opening scene actually shows that with the right material, he could have played a good Two-Face in this movie. But, you know, he quickly devolves to this. We're also introduced to Nicole Kidman's character, who is just immediately, like, really horny for Batman, like, within seconds. And it doesn't come off as, like, tasteful flirting or anything. It comes off as hard to watch.
Slaughter them without thinking twice.
Agreed.
In my opinion, one thing that this movie, and maybe even Batman and Robin, has over the Tim Burton movies is the action sequences. This Batman, you know, using his cape and batarangs is something that Michael Keaton Batman never really did a lot, and he feels more like Batman to me. Maybe that's my bias coming through, though. That one might be kind of biased. And also, yeah, he saves this guy. Michael Keaton Batman would have let him fall. This is definitely a reboot. The opening sequence with the helicopter is a lot of fun, and in my opinion, that's what this whole movie, you should kind of look at it as, is mindless fun, you know? And it seems to be that's what they were going for. But the real question here is, why does Gotham City just have a Statue of Liberty? It literally says Gotham on it. Like, why? So now we're getting to one of the best parts of this movie, and that is Jim Carrey as Edward Nygma. I know some people don't like him in this movie, and I'll talk about what I think about his Riddler when the time actually comes for that. But I do really like his Edward Nygma, especially in this opening scene, which gives Val Kilmer another chance to shine as Bruce Wayne with this interaction.
Oh, Bruce Wayne.
No, that's my name.
So Bruce sees the bat signal and decides to leave Wayne Tower through a giant slide that is built into his office that leads to the Batcave, or a Batcave. I don't really know. Anyway, Batman goes to the bat signal and sees Nicole Kidman's character again, leading to some of the most uncomfortable dialogue in a superhero movie ever.
You're trying to get under my cape, Doctor? It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
And while I like Val Kilmer in this role, boy does this Batman say some strange things.
Try fireman, less to take off.
And honestly, Chase Meridian, Nicole Kidman's character, she needs help, bro. She is simping for Batman so hard.
Black rubber.
But he's unfazed. He doesn't care.
Women.
When we meet Edward in this movie, he is clearly already pretty close to the breaking point. And while he does make the jump to like crazy, expressive Jim Carrey very quickly, and you know, that does lead to him murdering his boss just as quick. But honestly though, the Jim Carreyism, while it is a bit too much at times, he feels like the Riddler. It feels like they got what they were going for. And for the most part, the lighthearted story that is here fits the lighthearted Riddler that we're getting, you know, until the murder. Wait, was Batman just in his bat suit in the courthouse? Like, what is going on here? What? I really like the riddle messages that Edward sends to Bruce throughout this movie. They both feel very classic serial killer mixed with the Riddler, which is actually something that the Matt Reeves Batman movie did very well as well. Yeah. I love this scene. I know this isn't the best Batman movie, and I'll never say it is the best Batman movie, but, like, this Riddler, he is a developed character, and, like, it's a shame that this movie hasn't been given the respect, in my opinion, that it deserves, most likely because of its sequel. Speaking of sequels, is this movie a sequel? Like, okay, there are obvious connections to Batman Returns and the Tim Burton movies, you know, like this being marketed as the continuation of the Batman story, Alfred's actor being the same, Jim Gordon's actor being the same, and Chase Meridian indirectly mentioning Catwoman. But there's also a lot of contradictions in this movie. Wayne Manor is a completely different building. Bruce Wayne is clearly a different person. And also, you know, the whitewashing of Harvey Dent. So honestly, I don't know. I think it's like a soft reboot for all intents and purposes. So, you know, to get caught up with the movie, Bruce Wayne goes to Chase Meridian and asks her about the strange riddles he's receiving. Also in the scene, he has made a complete 180, going from wanting nothing to do with her as Batman to being a bit of a creep as Bruce Wayne.
I've really got to get you out of those clothes.
Excuse me?
For some reason, he invites her to the circus, and she accepts for some reason. So while they're there, Two-Face hijacks the thing, saying that he wants the Batman.
Bruised, broken, bleeding, in a word.
Dead. He wants the Batman dead. So he gives him a limited time to give up the Batman before he blows the place up, and immediately Bruce Wayne just stands up and yells for all these people to hear that he is Batman. I mean, luckily, no one heard him, somehow, even the people right next to him, but I do think it kind of shows character a little bit. He cares more about protecting the people than he cares about his secret, which is a stark difference to the murderous Michael Keaton, who would have just sat there in silence and smiled as the bomb went off and everybody died. Maybe that's a bit too far. Also, the Flying Graysons are there, and they decide to play hero and get rid of the bomb, which the youngest son, Dick Grayson, successfully does, but in doing so, he loses his family and watches them die. Bruce adopts the fully grown man. Like, honestly, I don't know how old he is in this movie, but he looks like he's easily in his 20s. How old is Dick Grayson in Batman Forever? Huh. Dick and Bruce have this short conversation about Dick wanting to kill Two-Face, and Bruce talks about how killing him wouldn't take the pain away, which hints at Batman's murderous past, and maybe, or at least in my opinion, in between movies, it looks like he has made the no-kill rule, which is never mentioned out loud, but he doesn't kill anyone in this movie, so I don't know, just a theory I thought of. Maybe this is a sequel, and just in between movies, something happened to cause him to change his ways? I don't know, just a theory that I thought it was worth mentioning. Eventually, Bruce gets Dick to stay by appealing to his love of motorcycles. After this, we get a scene that feels kind of out of place in the movie, but it is a very good scene, which is between Bruce and Alfred, where he admits to killing the man who killed his parents, and he clearly doesn't want that for Dick. It's a good message in this movie where you can tell Joel Schumacher kind of wanted to maybe make up for the more broken version of Batman that we saw in the Burton movies, which in my opinion more connects these movies and kind of fits to my theory. Okay, so now we're kind of getting to the point where Tommy Lee Jones becomes a bit unbearable in this role. He feels like every villain in these 90s Batman movies, which feel like the Joker, especially Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face, which is a shame because Two-Face is such a good and complex character that was executed so poorly compared to his counterpart in this movie, the Riddler, who I actually thought was executed pretty well in this movie. We also get the Riddler in full swing with his costume, which, while campy, it fits the movie and works well next to Two-Face. And, you know, same thing. I don't like the portrayal and I don't like the acting, but I do like the look if you take away, you know, the fact that his burn is down his face in a straight line, but, you know, it's fine. Also, supposedly, these two, like, hated each other on set, which is just hilarious to me.
He couldn't?
He couldn't sanction my buffoonery.
What movie is this?
That's when we did Batman together.
Wait, you're the star, though.
I was the star, yeah. The maitre d' said, "Oh, Tommy, I hear you're working with Tommy Lee Jones. He's over in the corner having dinner." And I went over and I said, "Oh, yeah, great." I went over and I said, "Hey, Tommy, how you doing?" Like that, and the blood just drained from his face. And he got up and he went, like this. He must have been in mid-kill me fantasy or something like that. Like this, and he went like to hug me and he said, "I hate you. I really don't like you." And I pulled up a chair, which probably wasn't smart. And he said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery."
But honestly, they do work well together on screen, and I kind of like the dynamic they create.
Let me try!
So now they initiate the Riddler's grand plan, which is to just rob a ton of banks and jewelry stores to fund the Riddler's brainwave machine company thing. To then put one of these in every household to then make Edward super smart. To then find out who Batman is and kill him. I don't know. There's a lot going on at this point. We see that Dick Grayson is just a master at doing laundry for some reason. And then also he really wants to get into the only locked door in the house. Like, there's just one locked door, which just so happens to be the door to the Batcave. So, you know, he parkours his way into the Batcave for some reason. I don't even know. So then we cut to Bruce and Chase, who are getting closer together when he stumbles upon her weird obsession with Batman. Like, stalker levels, bro. This is messed up. Then he pretty much tells her that he's Batman, but she just doesn't piece it together at all. But more importantly, neon, baby, pop music, neon skeletons, Batmobile. We love it. We all love it here. Yeah, Dick steals the Batmobile and goes joyriding down to Neo Gotham, which, you know, was a choice. Not one I love or like or even support, but, you know, it's a choice anyway. You know, he says he's Batman who forgot his suit.
Hey, so I forgot my suit, alright?
And then he fights a bunch of weird neon skeleton guys. And they just keep coming. Like, there's just so many of them. And then, of course, the real Batman shows up, and they all run off. And we get a really, seriously great scene between Dick and Bruce.
It's your fault! If you'd have told Two-Face I were at the circus, they'd still be alive!
Which leads to Dick asking for Bruce's help in killing Two-Face. Then we get another great scene between these two. And wow, this movie's actually good. Like, people hate this movie. People have, like, brainwashed me for years into hating this movie. And upon rewatching, like, why do people hate this movie? It's not that bad. We get Bruce being hesitant about letting Dick join him in catching Two-Face, and understandably wanting him to not give up on a normal life, like Bruce has had to. So the next thing that happens is we go to, like, Enigma's Enigma Tech Expo thing party, where he basically shows off his new Oculus Rift that he's going to be selling. Then we get Bruce trying out this new box of Edwards that is, like, extracting his deepest, darkest fears and secrets for some reason. And then Two-Face shows up, and, you know, he does what Two-Face does, and he starts robbing people, which turns out this is not part of the big mastermind plan, so Edward's not too happy. But then Batman shows up, and we get another nice action sequence. And what I like about the action sequences in this movie, especially compared to the Tim Burton movies, is that they never really draw attention to the fact he can't turn his neck, like at all. Okay, and now we're about to sprint, because a lot's happening. Okay, Dick goes outside, and Alfred's there, and he gives him a prototype Robin costume. And then Chase is there, and she kisses Batman, even though she's dating Bruce now, so is that cheating in her mind? She invites him to her house, which kind of means, like, oh, she kind of cheating on Bruce. But I don't know, there's a lot going on. And it's also just kind of weird that he took time out of chasing Two-Face and Riddler to just kind of kiss Nicole Kidman's character. Just kind of shows the man's change from the beginning of the movie. Anyway, Batman decides that he can just run through fire now, so he does. And then Two-Face drops a building on him, pretty much. So he's like 100% dead. But don't worry, Nightwing, Dick Grayson saves him. And, you know, they argue, you know, father and son stuff. Batman doesn't want to let Dick in on this life. Dick wants to help and kill Two-Face. Then we get a Batman and Alfred talk, which starts with, like, Robin, and it just quickly goes to them talking about Chase Meridian. And Alfred's like, yeah, just let her choose between Bruce Wayne or Batman. So he goes to her place in the middle of the night as Batman, and, you know, she swoons over him again, and it's just awkward and weird, because, like, 2 seconds later, she's like, yeah, nah, Bruce Wayne's better. And then we get the iconic Batman smile that haunts my dreams, honestly. So then a few days pass, I think, honestly. It's Halloween now, so maybe months passed. I don't even know. Anyway, Bruce decides to quit being Batman because love, and Dick decides that he wants to find Two-Face and leaves to be on his own. So like I said, it's Halloween. And Riddler and Two-Face and like a ton of goons just break into Wayne Manor by pretending to be trick-or-treaters and just whacking Alfred on the head. Riddler breaks into the Batcave and just starts blowing stuff up for some reason. And then they knock out Bruce and kidnap Chase. So Bruce wakes up and his cave is destroyed. Mostly, kind of, not really. Everything is fine. His girlfriend is gone and his adopted son ran away. So I'd say, rough night, honestly. Bruce decides to go and solve all these riddles and finds out that Edward Nygma is the Riddler. I honestly thought he already knew that at this point in the movie, but I guess not. He figures it out. So then he goes down and puts on his most atrocious bat suit I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is not good. And then Robin shows up in his new suit, which I actually do like. I dig it. It looks good. And then these two make up and become the dynamic duo. How sweet. Batman takes off in the Batwing and Robin takes off in the Batfin. Batfin, get it? Because fin, boat. It's the Batboat. Alright, you happy? It's the Batboat. So while they're doing bat stuff, Riddler and Two-Face play Battleship. I wish I was joking. They play Battleship. Anyway, they completely destroy the Batboat, and Robin has to swim to the island. But uh-oh, there's evil men in yellow diving suits for some reason. But don't worry, Batman crashes too and traps all the divers in a net. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought he was gonna leave them there to die. But he actually saves them, that's good. Right? It's good. Good on you, Batman, good on you. Also, we get this line.
Holy rusted metal, Batman!
Which is amazing. Like, obviously it's corny and horrible, but I don't know. It's still stupid, but I mean, I laughed while I was watching the movie. I thought it was good. So Robin just beats up Two-Face, like absolutely destroys him, getting his revenge and completing his character arc by saving him from falling to his death. But, you know, then he gets betrayed, and also that arc gets kind of undermined when inadvertently Batman kills him like 10 minutes from now. Riddler then shows Batman that both Chase and Robin are hanging over a deadly drop, telling him that he can only save one, making him choose between being Batman and saving Robin, or being Bruce Wayne and saving Chase. But Batman just kind of outsmarts the Riddler by destroying the big box mind thing with a batarang, and it like melts Riddler's brain and blows everything up for some reason. But oh no, Chase and Robin are falling to their deaths. No worries, Batman just kind of jumps down there and saves them both because he's Batman. And it's good. It's over. Everybody. Oh wait, no. We forgot about Two-Face. So as they go to escape, Two-Face tries to kill them, and Batman just kind of like convinces him to flip his coin, and then basically kills him by throwing a bunch of coins in the air, which, you know, felt a bit unneeded at the end of the day. It didn't really fit. But, you know, Michael Keaton Batman is still living somewhere inside of him, so it had to happen eventually. So then we get the big revelation of the movie, the big ending. How will this end? Batman chooses to be both Batman and Bruce Wayne. And they all live happily ever after, with Batman and Robin running into the sunset for some reason. Because, you know, no sequel was ever made, and it doesn't exist, and I don't believe it, even if it did exist. So as you guys probably noticed during this review, I kind of skipped over one part of the movie, almost entirely, and that is all of the Bruce Wayne, death of his parents, guilt, flashback stuff. You know, the bad dream stuff with the dolls. I kind of skipped over all of that. And the reason why I skipped over it is because most of it doesn't really fit into the movie, and a lot of it got cut out of the movie. And while I do feel like there's a lot of good moments in there, and it's something that we really needed to see, because we hadn't seen it in live action yet, it just kind of felt like lost potential at the end of the day. If you guys don't know, there are 40 to 50 minutes of unused and cut footage from this movie that really dives into a more serious and philosophical side of this movie that the release version just kind of glosses over. This unreleased version of the movie has been dubbed the Schumacher Cut, and honestly, I want to see it. I believe wholeheartedly that a director's passion adaptation should get to be seen, and with Joel Schumacher sadly passed away now, it is a shame that he'll never get to see the reaction to what is 100% a better version of this movie. I do hope that one day we get to see the Schumacher cut. It would be a real shame if we didn't. And honestly, I don't think this unreleased footage will make it a perfect movie or like change the tone. And honestly, there's even a chance that this unreleased footage would clash with the movie we got and the tone set by Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. But supposedly there's some great scenes with great acting from Val Kilmer that in my opinion deserves to be released. So honestly, fuck it. Hashtag release the Schumacher cut. Why not? So is Batman Forever really that bad? No, not at all. On the contrary, actually, I believe upon rewatching this movie, and I do have to keep in mind that this movie was one of my first introductions to Batman along with the 2004 animated series, so it will always have a special place in my heart. But even now, if you look past some of the weird inconsistencies, there's a good story here with decent to sometimes good actors telling it. Personally, I believe that this movie is ruined by its sequel. Batman and Robin brought this movie down with it, and that's a shame because even Batman and Robin has its decent moments. So I guess what I'm saying is if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see me talk about Batman and Robin, tell me in the comments below and I'll start working on that. Honestly, if I had to give this movie a score, like opposed to the Rotten Tomatoes score, I'd give it a 67%. It wasn't a bad movie. It's not perfect. It's not even great, but it's a lot of fun and I have a fun time with it every time I watch it. This video is a ton of fun to make and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't really have much more to say. So yeah, that's it. Bye.